And what kind of roles and responsibilities you are handling over there?
It's mostly admin. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, as in the Citrix admin and the
Okay.
day-to-day routine troubleshooting.
What kind of troubleshooting means what kind of tickets you are getting inside BDI?
Mm, yeah, and anybody like a hang session or some mostly profile reset,
Okay.
or
So,
maybe some not part of some security group like that.
okay. Do you have any idea what is Citrix and how it works?
I have the base idea, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I have the base idea about the architecture, but then again, that basically they how it is interconnected and all. Like I said, I have some doubts on that part.
Okay. So basically, sorry. So basically, the basic definition is that basically it is a company
Mm-hmm.
having headquarters in
Okay.
US, Florida, and it is most
Mm-hmm.
popular for two products into the virtualization. And product
Okay.
name is virtual app and virtual desktop. Formerly,
Okay.
those products were named as GenApp and Gen Desktop, but now they guys rename their product from GenApp to virtual app and Gen Desktop to the
Mm,
virtual desktop. Okay. So
okay.
in current version, you will find virtual app and virtual desktop only. Okay. GenApp and Gen Desktop is the older name. Okay.
Underneath. Okay.
Now this is a very important like the working and key components. So
Okay.
basically, are you able to explain like what you can understand with that network diagram?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
just try to do it.
I'll try. Yes. So basically, we have this
Mm-hmm,
hypervisor here,
mm-hmm,
and from here, uh, we have this delivery controller interconnected to all these elements,
mm-hmm,
be it Active Directory, Storefront, and Director, License Server,
mm-hmm,
SQL Server, and Studio. And where we see the two-way, so the communication goes two-way.
mm-hmm,
So the moment, actually, we'll go from left to right, ideally. So the moment any user launches a web page of the Citrix web page,
mm-hmm,
so the first page will land. That will be there on the GUI is the storefront
mm-hmm,
where the first page lands, and then it communicates to the delivery controller,
mm-hmm.
which authenticates the user ID and issues the license and holds the profile where the data is there from SQL Server. I think I don't know if I'm going right. Okay.
No,
Um.
I just wanted you to try. Okay, I'm not telling you are right or wrong. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I just wanted you to try whatever you can try. Okay,
Okay.
what is hypervisor?
Okay. It's a device like hardware.
Are you sure it is a hardware?
Um. It can be a cloud service also, like it says,
How many
a
types of
platform where
hypervisor are
we.
there into the market?
I remember there were like two.
Yeah, two, correct. What is the name?
One is like what's called bare metal,
Mm-hmm.
and that is like where you have it already the OS there.
So two types of hypervisors are there. Okay. First one is
Mm-hmm.
your type one, which is known as bare metal. And
Okay.
bare metal, it is a physical server on which we have to install hypervisor directly as an operating system. Okay. On physical hardware,
Okay.
you can directly install hypervisor as an operating system. The example for type 1 or bare metal is your VMware ESXi, Citrix hypervisor or Citrix Gen server. Okay. Or
Okay.
your Hyper-V, that is from the Microsoft.
Okay.
Now, coming to the type 2. So basically, Type 2, it is an application. To install
Mm-hmm.
Type 2 hypervisor, you need one operating system like Windows 10, like Mac OS, or maybe other Linux flavor, right? And the example
Okay.
for Type 2 is your VMware Workstation Pro, Oracle VirtualBox, or maybe some other application like Docker or some other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is storefront?
Storefront is a server which is responsible of generating that first logon interference for the user. Am I making sense?
Basically, storefront, it is a landing page for end user. Okay,
Okay.
landing page or a website for end user, www.xyz.com. Okay, whenever you are
Okay.
accessing your resources, you must have to provide an
Mm.
URL to your end user, right?
Yeah.
So starting from left hand side, now this left hand part, you have nothing to do with this part as a Citrix administrator. Why? Because that part, it has been taken care by your local IT team. You just have to guide them which version of Citrix workspace or Citrix receiver uh,
See.
uh, should be installed on end user device along with the web browser, Google Chrome or maybe Microsoft Edge, whatever is Firefox, right?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
you have nothing to do with the left hand part. But yeah, you have to guide your engineers like please install or update the workspace version or whatever the current release, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
this is the end user device, and from end user device user must have to open the web browser, and in that web browser user has to enter an URL which is your storefront URL. Okay, once
Okay.
user enters the URL, it will ask end user to enter some credentials, username or password, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once user enters the credentials, storefront server forward that query to the delivery controller. So delivery controller, it is a core component in Citrix data center. It is
Okay.
responsible to process each and every query. So whenever delivery controller receives any query from storefront for authentication, right? So delivery controller knows which server is responsible to validate the credentials. So only Active Directory server can do that, right?
Yes.
Because users credentials are stored in AD server. So it will forward the query to the Active Directory server, and once AD server validates the credentials, okay, then it will
Mm.
go to the database to check what resources are published to that particular user, means any application, any VDI, whatever is, right? Each and everything will
Okay.
be stored into the database for sure. And once it will get the list from the SQL server for user application or VDI, whatever it is, it will forward the query to the hypervisor to keep ready the available resources, whatever is published to end user, right? And
Yeah.
when then when user click on log on button after entering the credential, it is a second task. On next screen, user will get icons, Windows 10, VDI, Windows 7, right? I hope you are aware
Mm-hmm.
like how it looks like, right?
Yeah.
So user will get some icons over there on the next screen, right? So once user double tap on any application or the desktop, right? So it will download
Mm.
one ICA file from storefront. ICA, that is your extension for Citrix workspace. It will
Okay.
download one ICA file, and that ICA file, it will be launched secure session with the help of Citrix workspace, and user is now connected to the session. Any
Session.
doubt?
So that I yeah that two things I want to ask. So workspace and receiver when we talk about. So
Mhm.
either of the things should be okay, or we should have both, because at times when we have both, it gets, I don't know, it gets corrupted or
No, no, no.
it gets
You have to keep one only. Look, if you are working on older version like GenApp 6.15 or Gen Desktop 6.1, something like that, right? In
uh,
older versions, Citrix receiver was there, right? But when Citrix upgraded itself it upgraded a receiver to the workspace. So both are the same things. Okay.
Okay.
Citrix workspace, it is an upgraded version of your
Okay.
receiver. Okay.
Okay. So even if sometimes some users have both, so that is also not a problem. Yeah?
Sorry, come again.
Some users have both, that is also not a problem. Yeah?
Mm, I think you cannot install both the things together. It will not allow you.
Is okay.
Means it is the same application. You cannot do that,
Mhm.
right? If
Okay.
if Citrix workspace is already there, it will never allow you to install Citrix receiver. Why? It will prompt you like like something like that. Any updated version is already installed. Something like that pop-up you will get. Okay.
No, like when we launch any session from the web, so it
Mm-hmm.
downloads this ICA file.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, when it launches, it's a receiver, right? We have
Yes.
the receiver, that's why it's launching.
Yes.
Same time, for example, my system has both,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the Citrix workspace also I have installed. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they launch from there also. So
Look,
what I meant,
it's totally up to your
mm,
storefront configuration, right? If it is configured for
sure.
both the application, you can use both, right?
Um,
But if a workspace or receiver is restricted from storefront, in that case, you will be only like able to launch the session with the recommended version of the application.
okay,
That
okay,
okay.
okay. So mostly how it is, like it's both are recommended because even the previous one,
Look,
in the previous project, when I was a user only, that time also it was like I was able to launch from both ways. So mostly it's um,
look,
published that way.
it's totally up to the infra. Like if you are on some legacy infra, like some older company which is using the older
Mm-hmm,
hardware or the older version, right? So they
mm-hmm,
cannot
mm-hmm.
discontinue the receiver, right? But
Okay,
but
okay.
when it comes to the new companies who recently migrated over the cloud or over the Citrix, right? So they guys
Mm-hmm.
with the latest release only, right? Because Citrix never sell the older product to the new customer, right? So
Okay.
if there is an like there is some legacy dependency, right? So
Mm,
companies cannot switch their infra so quickly, right? Now,
okay.
as you can see, while session is connected and during the emulation process, right? You
Mm,
you have seen I have not explained these three things: Studio, Director, and License Server. Why? Because these tools are for the Citrix administrators to manage the data center operations. Like
mm.
Director, it is for the troubleshooting. It is a web-based tool. You can open Director over like over the URL, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Studio, it is a console. You can install it on
Mm,
delivery controller or any other computer which is connected to your domain, and you can create the machine catalogs, you can create the VM, right? And the license
mm-hmm.
server, uh, that is something which is responsible to allocate the license to the VDI, like the virtual machines. Any doubt here
Okay.
in this slide?
So far it's okay. Just a second. I have one more question. I just missed to ask that, but it's okay. When I remember, I'll ask you then.
So as you can see in Citrix, we are having multiple layers, like total 5 layers. So as
Mm,
I told you, you have nothing to do with this layer as an administrator, Citrix admin, right? This is a
mm.
user layer, right? That is separate layer. That is your data center.
Okay. This access control and resource.
Yes. So into the access layer, you will find two servers, storefront or Netscaler. That is now
Mm,
Citrix ADC. Okay. I will let you
mm.
Netscaler later on, but right now please be there with the storefront. Basically, Netscaler it is for the load balancing. Means if you are having two or three storefront, right? So
Mm.
end user will be given we will give end user the URL for Netscaler only, and then Netscaler will decide to which storefront server it will forward the connection. Like if this storefront is overutilized and we are having one more storefront here, so it will forward the connection accordingly to load balance. Okay.
Okay.
So So into the access layer, you will find the servers which is responsible to
So how
get
many storefronts we can have?
minimum to maximum no limit.
That's true. Okay.
Okay, minimum 2 for load balancing. Okay, maximum
Mm-hmm.
is totally up to the sites. Means I was working with SCL, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in SCL, multiple clients was there, multiple sites was there, right? So if I am
Hmm.
having multiple sites over the globe, so for every site I have to
Mm-hmm.
create separate storefront, right?
Hmm.
So I cannot use the single storefront. So this is how it's work.
Yes.
So it's
Okay.
totally
Okay.
minimum 2 is required and maximum there is
Mm-hmm.
no limit. It's totally up to your infra. How many connections, how many sites you have.
Okay.
Okay, so access layer.
Yeah.
What is the access layer? Like in access layer, you will find you can consider this as a what we can say as a gateway for end user, right? This is a gateway.
Hmm.
This is a path for end user, which allows user to enter into the resource layer, not into the control layer. Why? Because control layer it is managed by us, Citrix admins only. Okay,
Hmm. Okay.
so you can consider it as a gateway. Okay.
Okay.
Now coming to the control layer, very very simple. You can see the things, right? I hope you are
Mm-hmm.
familiar with each and every component, right?
Yes.
As I told you, delivery controller, what is that? It is a core component and it is
Mm-hmm.
responsible to manage all the data center information processing and queries. If you need some written definition, I am having one document I can send you, but I do not want you to waste your time in written things, right? So you
Yes.
can keep remember the things. Now,
Okay.
domain controller, I don't think so. You are having much experience in that part, right? So I don't think so. I have to explain this, right?
Domain controller is just like your local domain, right?
That is your Active Directory server,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
uh, in AD server, what we have to do? We have to create the end user. We have to create the computer accounts, right? We have to join the computer accounts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Those OUs are defined as per
yes,
the architecture. Okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now SQL Server, it is from the Microsoft and it is generally used to as a database, right? To store the logs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
License server is something which is responsible to allocate the license. Why? Because we have to procure the license from the Citrix, right? So that we have
Hmm.
to configure the separate license server for Citrix. And for an example, if I have purchased 100 license, right? So I have to enter the key here so that I will
Okay,
be able
so
to.
that will be a unique single key, or those will be 100 keys when we
Nah, nah, it
get
will be
like
single only. Nah, why 100?
that's what like we take whatever key and then number of nodes we can connect. That is what we have the assignment, right?
Yes. Basically, you have
Okay.
to you have to ask the Citrix. We need license for the 100 VDI, right? So it will
Hmm.
give you a
That's my
single
question.
key for 100 VDI, right? You cannot enter the
Mm-hmm.
100 keys. No, it is very, very time
That's
consuming, right?
yeah, true.
Now, file server. Any idea on that part? What is that?
Where like the like a NAS server, like the common
Yeah,
storage.
the shared storage,
Okay.
the network storage,
Mm,
right? Like
okay.
NAS or SAN or your ISKG storage, right? So these are the storage
Hmm.
server, and we have to keep all the data, all the VDI, each and everything over the network storage only. Why? Because if any of hardware went down, in that case, your data will be secured at the shared storage, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Now into the resource layer, these are the resources which we will publish to
Mm-hmm.
the end user, like server OS, or it could be a Windows, not Windows, desktop OS as well, like Windows 10, Windows 7, or 8, whatever the 11, right? So
It's managed by.
it's managed by basically hypervisor. We have to host all the resources at the top layer of the hardware, that is known as the hypervisor, and basically these resources are published to the end user, and we have to manage the resources from the delivery controller. If any of our user is unable to launch the VDI, right? So we have
Mm-hmm.
to troubleshoot from the director, like whether this particular machine is registered or not, something like that. Okay.
Okay, and when we talk about file server, the whatever storage data it has,
Mm-hmm.
so who is the responsible person if anything goes, anything corrupts or for backing up? So it's all the time backup team, or so, whether it's Windows team taking care of those storage, or
No,
we
no. Separate team is there which is known as storage team. Okay, which is responsible to
storage.
manage the storage. Okay, you do not have to
Okay,
worry. That is their task to take a backup on the regular basis. Okay,
okay, okay.
so you cannot involve in that part. Even
Mm,
you do not have to manage the SQL server as well. Okay, like DBA team,
mm,
database team is responsible to manage the SQL. Okay, so
okay,
you just have to ask them like I need that particular database to be created into the SQL server, and they will create it on your behalf, and that's it.
okay,
Okay, you
okay.
do not have
Mm,
to look into the SQL server and file server. Yeah, but in file server you have to like you are not at architect level right now, but let me explain you like for an example,
mm,
uh, you have some requirement, right, to uh, for 100 GB of file server,
mm,
separate files shared network, right? So
mm,
you can ask your storage team to create a separate path for you for some purpose,
mm,
for some department, right?
mm,
To store some VDI or something like that, right? VDIX or virtual disk, whatever it is. So you can
mm.
ask them the storage, but that is your responsibility. That storage, it should be always uh, not more than 80% utilized. Okay, that is your responsibility. Or else you have to
Yeah,
delete
that
the,
we get alerts and we have to play it up.
yeah, that you have to clean it
Drain
up.
out the
Okay.
sessions.
Yes. So these kind of things
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
you have to manage. Why? Because that storage, it is very, very costly actually, and
mm,
companies cannot give you the storage at free of cost, right? They will ask you multiple approvals if you want to increase the storage, right?
mm,
So
mm,
so you just have to manage. Means you can delete your data. Okay.
mm, mm-hmm.
And whatever you can delete, whatever you will delete now, they will keep backup of the same thing, right? So they never know
Okay,
what to delete, what to keep, right? But as a Citrix
yeah,
administrator, you know what you can delete, right?
okay. But eventually, if nothing works out, then we can proceed with the approval of the storage space and we can extend, right? Like whoever is storage team will extend.
Yeah, if nothing can be deleted, in that case, you have to extend it. There is no other option, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, coming to the hardware layer. So basically,
Mm,
all the servers, whatever you can see at the top, all the servers are hosted on the physical hypervisor. That is a
mm,
physical hardware with network, Wi-Fi, very, very strong storage, multiple processor, memory, graphic. Have you ever seen the hypervisor physically? Any server?
no,
You
no.
you never visited into the data centers?
Long back maybe, but most of them were in the uh, the wardrobes, those metallic wardrobes.
Okay. So basically, how hypervisors are being configured, we will, for an
Mm,
example, I am having like 5 servers from Dell, right? So what I
okay.
will do, I will internally connect all the 5 servers, and I will install
Mm-hmm.
the hypervisor as an operating system directly on all the 5 physical servers. Okay. And
Okay.
these physical servers will host my VDI. I'm not sure if
Okay.
you have ever seen, but I will show you later on. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any doubt here?
Not at the moment. I was just trying to mention that here, I have heard terms like farms and all this. So later we'll cover that, right?
Farms and sites,
Citrix farms.
Citrix Farms, that is
Mm,
a part of Citrix provisioning services. Okay. Right now, we are on the
mm,
Citrix MCS, that is known as Machine Creation Services. Okay.
MCS.
Yeah,
Okay. We'll cover this later anyways, right?
I will cover it.
I had some doubts when they talk about these terms. I am little in the cloud, so I don't know.
So, so basically what I have done, I've divided the entire thing into the 10 segments, okay? These are
Mm-hmm.
the segments, not the sessions, okay?
Okay.
Like means there might be some requirement like I have to schedule 3 sessions for this topic only, okay? So these are the segments.
Okay.
Please do not consider this as
Okay.
a topic like sessions, okay?
Session about that.
So first session, we are here right now. What we are doing?
Prerequisites.
We
Mm-hmm.
are discussing the prerequisites and the introduction, right?
Okay.
From tomorrow onwards, what we will do? We will install the delivery controller and we will configure the core components, okay? That will we will
Okay.
start practicals from tomorrow onwards.
Okay.
In the third one, I will let you know how to configure the Citrix hypervisor. Then we will create our first Citrix site and we will add a single delivery controller to that site.
Okay.
In the fifth one, I will let you know how to create the master images or the golden images and how to install
Okay.
the virtual delivery agents, right? All with the practicals
Okay.
only. Then we will, sorry, we will create the machine catalogs. Then we'll create
Mm-hmm.
the delivery groups. And
Okay.
after creating delivery groups, we will install and configure our first storefront server for the end user. And once the
Okay.
storefront is done, then we will test our deployment as an end user. Okay. We will act as an
Okay.
end user. We will open the storefront URL and then we will try
Mm-hmm.
to hit the resources, right? And
Okay.
10th segment, it is for troubleshooting, backup plan,
Mm-hmm.
disaster recovery, whatever the possible scenario based issues you will face in your
Okay.
organization, we will cover in this. So that will be very, very lengthy actually for 5 or 6 days, the 10th one, right? Because multiple
Okay.
scenarios are there.
Hmm.
Any
Okay.
any doubt in that segmentation?
No, I'm fine till you. So post these post once we cover these,
Mm-hmm.
what is how we'll proceed further? Because
Mm-hmm. For
what
the
are the next courses on these? Like, and when we can, I can go for the certification. That all. I just wanted to have this
so the
idea.
okay, so that is the recorded line. Rest of the things we can discuss over the call. Okay, I'm recording this thing.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm not going to answer this over here. Okay,
sure.
because sometimes I used to upload the same over the YouTube channel. Huh? So
Ah,
I do not
okay.
want some personal things to be there, right?
Sure, sure. I understand.
Okay, so now
Mm-hmm.
very, very important, the number of servers what we have to create.
Okay.
First server will be our domain controller. The host name I
Mm-hmm.
have given DC for domain controller. Second server, that is your delivery controller, Citrix delivery controller. Okay, and
First name is just domain controller, and
yes,
then
it is your delivery controller.
DDC delivery. Like, how do you expand this DDC?
Sorry,
I
come again.
mean,
Hmm.
DDC is what is D stands for?
D stands for nothing. I just to keep that separate from DC, right? So I added one D here for delivery controller, right?
Okay, because in my project also they keep talking about DDC, so I keep on
No, no. DDC, look,
thinking about
it is
both.
just a host name. You can give like Citrix DDC, like CDC, something like that, right?
Okay.
So
I
basically,
used to think delivery domain controller. I don't know what is it. So
no,
it's
no,
just a delivery control.
no, that is a delivery controller only. Okay. So
Hmm.
basically, that is a core component. Basically, DDC, look, that is your domain controller, right? And
Hmm.
DDC stands for desktop delivery controller, which is responsible to deliver the desktop to the end users. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So DDC stands for the desktop delivery controller.
Hmm.
So that is just the host name, nothing else. Okay. Then two hypervisors we have Gen server 1 and Gen server 02. Over the hypervisors, we will host all of our virtual machines. And as you can see,
Okay.
I have picked up two hypervisors with 10 GB of RAM. Why? Because for any XYZ reason, if one hypervisor goes down, in that case, I can
Hmm.
switch all the operations to the first one,
Other one.
or vice versa.
So, so you have these machines physically located, or you make a cloud on the a lab on the cloud. How we do this? You have these physical machines there.
I'm having my own lab, right? But if you are having a laptop with some good configuration,
Hmm.
na, I can
Hmm.
start deploying the lab on your hardware, so that will be good for you.
And how about if I purchase this AWS this lab space and we can create on the cloud? We can do that.
Do you have access to the AWS cloud?
No, there's very minimal as
N-
pay as you go option, no? So
it will
we'll
not
try
work.
that later.
It will not work. Okay. Why? Because initially, right now we are working on on-premises infra. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will move to the cloud. Okay.
Okay.
And these two
We'll see
machines,
that later then.
yeah. And these two machines are Windows 10 Client 1 and Client 2. Basically, these are the end user machines. We will act as an end user from these machines. Okay.
Acha, okay.
Now, I think in this call, only 3 minutes are remaining. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm doing, I'm just terminating this call. Okay. And
Okay.
sharing new invite to you within after a tea break. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Done.
Because I have to
Thank
explain few more things to you. Okay.
you. Yes, yes, sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much, Mahesh.